Welcome back. Here's a quick recap. Sensing danger, Raon rushed toward Dorian and Raiden, shouting, "Scout Leader Raiden, shark moles are coming this way from underground, right now." Raiden, caught off guard, muttered, "Shark moles are coming?" He then tried to reassure everyone, explaining, shark moles wouldn't come here. But Raon, unconvinced, insisted again. Before Raiden could respond, frustration building, an explosion erupted behind him. Spinning around, his eyes widened in shock as he whispered, "Shark moles really came all the way here." If you're new here or need a refresher, I highly recommend checking out the previous part before diving into this exciting chapter. Now that we're all caught up, before we start this new chapter, I want to give a huge thanks to Calvin Campbell for joining our family as a member, and a special shout out to Sizzling Meme, Pat Vic, Presto Alakazam, and Rayhan Muhammad for the super thanks. Let's jump right in. Raiden's gaze locked onto the shark moles, their sharp teeth and glowing eyes sending a surge of adrenaline through his veins. He gripped his sword tightly, his mind racing with a newfound sense of determination. "I have to focus, it's just me and the newbies here," he thought to himself. "I need to get us out of here so we can alert the squad." Raiden took a step forward, but his legs suddenly slipped on the uneven ground, sending his balance off kilter. His eyes widened in shock as he felt himself losing stability. The shark moles charged towards Raiden with a ferocious roar, their jaws wide open. Raiden raised his sword, bracing for impact, as he thought in desperation, "Damn, why did my foot have to slip in the worst moment?" Fear and adrenaline coursed through his veins as the creatures closed in. In a blur of motion, Raon charged forward, his sword flashing in the light. With a swift and deadly strike, he cut down the shark mole that was about to attack Raiden. The creature's body crashed to the ground, its twisted form lying motionless at Raiden's feet. Raon turned to Raiden, his voice firm and commanding, "I will block the shark moles, so Captain Raiden, you should call the other members over." Raiden's eyes locked onto Raon's, a mix of shock and surprise etched on his face. Raon continued, his voice steady, "I understand you can't trust me yet." He paused, his gaze meeting Raiden's, and for a moment, Raiden's worry and uncertainty were palpable. Raon's voice took on a note of quiet confidence as he continued, "But at least trust my sword." His eyes locked onto Raiden's, a fierce determination burning within them. As he spoke, Raon tightened his grip on his sword, the muscles in his hand and arm tensing with anticipation. Suddenly, Raiden grabbed Dorian and took off in a sprint, shouting back to Raon, "Be careful, Raon. Just avoid them and stay alive until help arrives." Raiden's voice was laced with concern and urgency as he pulled Dorian along, his eyes darting back to Raon for a brief moment. Raon's gaze locked onto the shark moles, a confident smile spreading across his face. "Now, let's see." He raised his sword, the blade glinting in the light, as the shark moles charged towards him. With a raised eyebrow, Raon continued, "Shall we get started?" The shark moles closed in, surrounding Raon from every angle, and sprang towards him in unison. For a moment, Raon stood frozen, his eyes locked onto the snarling creatures. Then, with a sudden burst of intensity, he began to radiate an aura from his body, infusing his sword with a fierce energy. The air around him seemed to vibrate with power as he gazed at the shark moles with unwavering confidence, his eyes burning with determination. With lightning-fast speed, Raon unleashed the rabid fang sword technique, his blade slicing through the air with deadly precision. One of the shark moles was bisected in a single, fluid motion, its body splitting into two halves as it let out a blood-curdling screech. The air was filled with the metallic scent of blood as the creature's innards spilled out, painting the ground crimson. As Raon prepared for the next wave of attackers, a hint of a smile played on his lips. "The rabid fang's performance is better than I expected," he thought to himself, his mind momentarily shifting from the battle at hand to an assessment of his sword technique's effectiveness. They're normally opponents I would need to use aura against, but before he could further ponder, a shark mole suddenly sprang from behind, its razor-sharp claws extended in a vicious swipe. As Raon jumped away, he continued to assess the situation. "But right now, I can hold on with just sword techniques." The shark mole's claws slammed into the ground, mere inches from where Raon had stood, sending rocks and snow flying in all directions. The impact created a cloud of debris, and the sound of crunching earth and scraping stone filled the air. As Raon shielded himself from the debris, his thoughts turned inward. What's helping me utilize the sword's capabilities better, and allowing me to predict the shark mole's movements, is the fact that my cold energy is meshed with the surroundings. Is this the power of Glacia? His eyes narrowed in contemplation, a spark of understanding igniting within him. then the way to use these powers properly is. He paused, his mind racing with possibilities, as he watched the shark moles regroup for their next attack. With a newfound sense of clarity, Raon's thoughts concluded, honing my senses through real-life experience. His eyes locked onto the shark moles, now mere feet away, and with a fierce battle cry, he charged forward to meet them. With swift and deadly precision, Raon dispatched the remaining shark moles, his sword slicing through their twisted bodies with ease. As the last shark mole fell to the ground, its lifeless form joining the others in a gruesome tableau, Raon stood tall, his chest heaving slightly with exertion. He gazed down at the carnage, his thoughts reflective. I'm slowly getting used to both the rabid fang sword and glacia, he mused. A hint of confidence crept into his voice as he continued, I feel like I can take on any opponent of this level now. As Raon sheathed his sword, a satisfied smile spread across his face. I'm learning new things faster than expected, he thought, his mind reflecting on the rapid progress he'd made. His eyes gazed out into the distance, his expression contemplative. It was correct to come to Haben Castle, where there are so many opportunities to gain experience. Raon's thoughts were interrupted as Raiden burst onto the scene, leading the 3rd scouting team. Raiden's voice rang out, his concern evident as he shouted, Raon, are you all right? I brought reinforcements, so fall back. The sound of pounding footsteps and the team's arrival filled the air. Raiden's face paled as he took in the devastating scene before him, his eyes widened in shock, frozen on the carnage-strewn ground, where the lifeless bodies of the shark moles lay scattered. Raiden's eyes scanned the battlefield, his mind reeling with the implications. Did he defeat all the shark moles by himself, he thought, incredulity etched on his face. His gaze lingered on the bodies, a mix of awe and shock reflected in his expression. They're monsters that can cause casualties even if all the squad members were to fight at once. Raiden's gaze lingered on Raon, who stood calmly amidst the carnage, his expression unreadable. Raiden's thoughts echoed in his mind, who is this guy? As Raiden walked towards Raon, he attempted to speak, but found himself rendered speechless. Raon's gaze met Raiden's, and he thought, he's probably at a loss for words. Raon's expression remained calm, almost expectant, as if anticipating Raiden's reaction. Considering he didn't believe a newbie and almost put people in danger, even if he wants to say something, he can't. Raiden stood frozen, his face a picture of shock and confusion, his eyes fixed on Raon with a mixture of awe and dismay. As Raon thought, even though his pride is hurt, he won't. Raiden suddenly began to speak, his voice hesitant, I'm sorry, and, he paused, his words trailing off as he seemed to struggle to find the right words. Suddenly, Raiden bowed down deeply, his voice filled with emotion as he spoke, we survived thanks to you. Raon's eyes widened in surprise as he gazed at Raiden, taken aback by the sudden display of gratitude. As Raiden continued to bow, his voice filled with remorse, because I didn't believe you, a dangerous situation happened. I won't use an excuse like I have more experience than you. Raiden's voice was filled with genuine gratitude as he said, thank you, Raon. Raon's eyes widened in surprise, and he thought, I didn't expect him to quickly apologize like that. The sincerity in Raiden's apology and gratitude caught Raon off guard, and for a moment, he seemed taken aback by Raiden's humility. Raon's expression softened as he placed a reassuring hand on Raiden's shoulder, his voice calm and understanding. It's all right, Captain Raiden. I wouldn't have been able to believe someone who just joined for the first time an act. Raiden's eyes widened in surprise, taken aback by Raon's words. Raiden's gaze locked onto Raon's, his voice filled with a newfound understanding as he spoke. Now I finally get who you are. Raon's expression shifted to one of concern, and he asked, pardon, what are you? His words trailed off as he paused, his thoughts racing with worry. Did he find out that I'm Zieghardt? Raiden's face lit up with joy as he grasped Raon's hand, exclaiming, you're an angel from heaven who has come to save us. Raon's eyes widened in surprise, and he looked taken aback by Raiden's words. His worry and concern about being discovered seemed to dissipate, replaced by confusion and embarrassment. Raon's response was hesitant. Sorry. No. Raiden's enthusiasm was contagious as he raised his hand in the air, declaring, to commemorate our newbie's first mission, tell everyone to return and gather at the tavern. It's all on me. The group erupted in surprise, with one member exclaiming, our cheapskate captain is doing what? Another group member chuckled, responding, we have no reason to reject free alcohol, let's go. Sometime later, inside the Branch of Frost Tavern, laughter echoes through the room as one of the group members bursts out, you're too much. Raiden's eyes widened in excitement as he exclaimed, no, I'm telling the truth. He slashed them all and then turned around to tell me to trust his sword. The group member teasingly raised an eyebrow, chuckling, "Hey, if he was that strong, why would he enter a place like this as a newbie?" The group member chuckled, "And if you just look at him, he doesn't even look 17. How does that make sense?" Raiden's face reddened as he snapped, "Are you doubting my words and our newbie, you bastard?" Meanwhile, Raon and Dorian sat back, calmly enjoying their meals. Wrath's eyes lit up as he enthusiastically praised the dish. The combination of the cheese's greasiness and the pineapple's acidity is truly the peak of taste. Raon's gaze fell upon the food, his expression turning skeptical. He thought to himself, "Is there a reason we need to eat it this way? Something's off." Dorian's eyes widened in amusement as he took in Raon's unconventional eating habits. "Young master, it seems like your taste buds are quite unique," he said with a chuckle. Raon looked up, surprised, and asked, "Me?" Dorian continued, "I ate that pizza earlier and I couldn't stand it." Before he could finish, Wrath's face turned red with indignation, and he shouted, "What? You pig who doesn't know anything about taste, how dare you?" Raon, on the other hand, heard Wrath's comment but didn't bat an eyelid, continuing to eat his meal with an air of calm detachment. The tavern's atmosphere shifted as Yua, one of the waiters, burst in with a lively grin. "Wow, the rumors were true. Big Sisters said the new guy in the reconnaissance squad has a face that outshines his sword skills." Yua's gaze locked onto Raon, her eyes sparkling with excitement and curiosity. Yua's face lit up as she suddenly remembered, "Ah, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Yua." Yua held up a book, its pages fluttering as she spoke. "We have other items on the menu. Would you like to see them?" Her eyes sparkled with a friendly smile as she presented the menu to the group. As Raon took the book from Yua, he nodded and said, "Sure, thanks." Wrath's eyes widened as he flipped through the menu, his expression transforming from skepticism to amazement. "Whoa, considering it's in such a remote place, the menu is so diverse." As they flipped through, Wrath's eyes landed on a specific item, and he exclaimed, "Wait, this king wants to eat that mint chocolate chip ice cream." His voice was filled with excitement and anticipation. Meanwhile, Raon's gaze fell upon the same item, and he thought to himself, "I don't really want to eat that." Yua's eyes sparkled as she noticed Raon's intense gaze on the menu. "Ah, are you perhaps interested in the mint chocolate ice cream? Our restaurant has a better version than most." Raon's eyes widened slightly in panic as he began to speak. "No, I just..." But before he could finish, Yua chimed in, "The mint that grows near Haben Castle has a more fresh taste than others." Wrath's face reddened with anger as he barked at Raon, "You thankless bastard, this king even taught you a secret technique. Is this how you repay kindness?" Raon's expression turned worried as he tried to placate Wrath, speaking in a calming tone, "I get it, so calm down." Meanwhile, Raon's inner monologue wandered, "Why does a tavern have mint chocolate chip ice cream?" Raon raised his hand and began to order, "I'll have one mint chocolate then." Just as he was about to continue, one of the scouting members suddenly called out, "Hey, newbie!" The shout cut through the tavern's atmosphere, drawing attention to Raon. The scouting member, still holding a mug of alcohol, asked with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism, "Is it true that you defeated 6 shark moles by yourself?" He eyed Raon appraisingly, adding, "The energy you radiate isn't that strong though." Raon's head turned towards the member, his eyes widening in surprise as he met the man's gaze. A member sitting near Raon chimed in, his voice filled with gratitude, "Anyways, thank you. All of us were safe thanks to you." Raon's face flushed slightly as he responded with embarrassment, "Thanks, but you're praising me too much." His tone was humble, and his eyes darted around the group, uncomfortable with the praise. The man sitting near Raon smiled warmly, saying, "What do you mean? Someone of your skills will get promoted imminently. I just want to talk casually with you before that happens, so don't worry about it." His words were laced with a mix of admiration and friendly teasing. Another member chimed in, nodding in agreement, "Yeah, when else would we get to talk with you like this?" Dorian's eyes sparkled with excitement as he exclaimed, "Yeah, Raon, you really achieved something great." Raon's thoughts, however, were more subdued. "I'm still not used to getting complimented like this." As the conversation continued, Yua walked over with a smile, carefully placing Raon's order on the table. "Here's your mint chocolate ice cream," she announced, her voice cheerful. The cold treat sat before Raon, its creamy texture and vibrant green color enticing. Wrath's face erupted in excitement as he shouted, "Oh, eat it quick." As Raon took a bite of the mint chocolate ice cream, Wrath suddenly flew over Raon's head, his excitement uncontainable. "Hiya dash," he exclaimed, his voice filled with joy. The refreshing taste spreads immediately, and right as it almost becomes too much, the sweetness of the chocolate comes out from behind. "Just like this king, it's cold and sweet. As Raon savored the mint chocolate ice cream, his mind wandered to a different topic. He asked Wrath, "Hey Wrath, I felt this earlier while using Glacia, but there isn't just one way to use it, right?" Meanwhile, Wrath's gaze snapped towards Raon, his eyes widening in surprise. He floated above Raon's head, a ghostly grin spreading across his face. "Oh ho, you've already figured that out?" he exclaimed, his voice filled with a mix of surprise and admiration. "You're right on target." Wrath's ghostly form glowed with an otherworldly light as he elaborated, "Just like the training techniques that you humans use, Glacia isn't just used for detection, it's a method to use cold energy with maximum efficiency and power." Raon listened intently, his mind absorbing the new information like a sponge, eager to unlock the full potential of Glacia. Raon's eyes lit up with excitement as he asked, "Then I can use it while attacking and defending?" Wrath's ghostly form nodded emphatically, his voice filled with confidence. "Of course." Raon's face broke into a wide smile as he exclaimed, "What an amazing ability! It heightens your senses and helps with attacking and defending." Wrath's ghostly form puffed out with pride as he declared, "Of course, to this king, it's easy, but for someone with no talent like you, you might achieve some results after dedicating a year to training it." Raon's eyes widened in surprise, his gaze fixed on Wrath with a mix of astonishment and skepticism. Raon's brow furrowed slightly as he said, "1 year is too long, though." Wrath's ghostly form zipped around him, his voice taking on a teasing tone. "Did you think it would be easy? It's only been a year of this king staying by your side telling you what to do." Raon's eyes sparkled with a sudden idea as he asked, "Then will you make a bet with me?" Wrath's ghostly form halted mid-air, his gaze snapping back to Raon with surprise. "A bet?" he repeated, his voice tinged with curiosity. Raon's smile grew wider as he explained, "If I can master Glacia in 6 months or not." Wrath's ghostly form hovered uncertainly, his voice trailing off as he asked, 6 months?" Raon's gaze locked onto Wrath's face, and he thought to himself, "It seems he's hesitating because he's lost every bet so far." Raon's thoughts were followed by a decisive tone as he said, "Fine, then 5 months, don't you think that's worth betting on?" Wrath's gaze intensified, his eyes locking onto Raon's with a piercing stare. Wrath's ghostly form seemed to solidify with resolve as he declared, "All right, let's do it." Raon's face broke into a wide smile, his eyes sparkling with triumph and anticipation. Suddenly a system notification materialized before Raon's eyes, its text glowing with an otherworldly light. "Wrath has accepted the bet." Raon's smile grew wider as he read the message, a sense of excitement and purpose washing over him. Friends, the chapter ends here. To everyone watching, thank you for joining us on this adventure. If you're eager to find out what happens next, please do comment below, asking for more chapters. Don't forget to show your support by liking and subscribing. Until next time, stay tuned.